it ought to look thin. If you're in your yard and you see nothing but ryegrass every place, you're going to have problems in the spring.
Let me. There's operator headspace here. You know, we've been on for an amount of time. There's been no audio going to I muted the mic. That was going. So we're going to have to erase that one and kick it out to the curb.
And I hate it when that happens.
Well, we've got a little bleeding in this board, so I have to mute the mic all the way so the audio doesn't come in. But it's going in there now. I looked over, I said, no audio going out there. Don't you hate that when that happens?
I hate it when that happens.
Well, maybe I can give you the audio from this side of our studio, and you can mix it, blend it. I don't know. He might look like he's out of sync, kind of like a Japanese Godzilla movie.
I don't mind.
We'll fix it.
I can play Ultraman.
All right. Well, let me just say this.
There's about 15 people who understood that.
Mothra.
I understood it. But what I will say is I'm going to get better at this, and eventually Kenny's going to be the one punching the show because then he can pay more attention to it than I when I'm talking to a
Now
guest.
he can take his nap, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he was over there with his flask on his cornflakes or something. I don't know. But look, so here's the thing. So now we got audio and people can hear me. You've got the point where the grass is brown. And the neat thing I like about this time of the year is anything green in your lawn right now is probably a weed.
More than likely.
And so you can spot hit it as opposed to have to get everything.
Well, you can, but here's the problem with that. In our area, because we don't ever get cold and stay cold, your root system of your grass may still be active. So if you go out there and start spot spraying, come spring, you got all these dead spots because there was just enough activity in that grass to pick up some of that killer.
That's if you use Roundup. I mean,
if you use any non-selective herbicide, that is always a risk. If you're using a chemical that's targeting weeds and not grass,
bifen's for the insects.
Bifen's for insects. Like weed-free zone is one that I always suggest for over the wintertime because it reacts better in cooler temperatures. But the problem is you get so cold, even that one's not going to be very effective. So if you're using any of your selective herbicides, which means it's geared to kill weeds but not grass, they may not be as effective because of the cooler temperatures. Because the weeds are not growing as fast, their processes are not going, and the chemicals just don't work well in really cold weather.
Now, does that come a little thing that you have to mix it, I guess? Was it 1 ounce per
I've got
gallon?
some that's already mixed up that you can spray. But the problem with any of those already mixed up is they're usually very much weaker. And so you don't get as much bang for your buck out of those. But the concentrates is where you'll really start getting better results.
Well, see, I didn't know that. That's a good point.
Yeah. And see, our area, Gilbert, is very difficult. If you go up to Raleigh, you've got fescue grass that's growing 365 days a year. It stays green all year long. There's an average 3-degree difference in the temperatures here in Fayetteville than in Raleigh. And that 3 degrees makes a huge difference. That means that your fescue typically will go dormant just like your centipede and your Bermuda does. And so I get a lot of people coming in all the time thinking they've got fescue. My guess is a lot of those people got a lot of crabgrass. They just think it's fescue. Yeah. I mean, I get it all the time. There may be some little pockets where you've got a microclimate where the fescue is working, but rare do we find fescue that stay green through the winter here.
Down here, but just because the temperature,
because it gets just warm enough to where your fescue won't handle that. Because and also in the late summer, your fescue typically will burn out around here because it can't take that intense heat. It grows in the mountains beautifully year round, but down here with our heat and humidity, it's a whole different ballgame.
Well, I like to try and stay on schedule, so I'm kind of like the first of the month. This is what I need. Even though you make a good point that the insects are down in order for them to be impacted or something like that right now.
Yeah. I mean, even now you'll kill some.
Right.
I mean, like I say, your target date is when you're going to get the most bang for your buck. There's nothing wrong with doing it a little bit early. There's a lot of people who love to use pre-emergence. I preach them strongly. I think they've got a great place. If you've had a bad weed problem or a bad crabgrass problem, putting Bayland out now, not a bad idea because these 70-degree days we're fixing to get into later this week, that's enough to get crabgrass to germinate. And so if you can get your Bayland out before your crabgrass germinates, you're going to hold back a lot of that. And so and you can put out the Bayland, the pre-emergent, you can put that out several times going into the spring season if you've had a bad problem in the past.
Now, the thing you have to watch is when it's going to rain, because if you put your stuff down and it's going to rain the next day, those like Bayland
depends on what it is.
It's got to stay on the leaf.
But your Bayland, your mallet, A lot of those things are granulars. They've got to get water on them before they'll dissolve, go into the ground, and do their thing. So your bayland needs water before it's going to do what it needs to do.
So
your
what's the one that sticks on the ground?
Like your biphen, that's a liquid spray. You want that to be on there for at least 12 to 24 hours before you get rain, because then that can wash a lot of it off.
Okay. So biphen is for
bugs.
Bugs. Okay.
Yep.
So why
I'll get you straight on that.
Well,
eventually.
I'm trying to think. If it's for bugs, why do I care if it's on the leaves?
Yeah.
Don't want it to get in the ground?
Well, no, you want to be on the leaf because of bug. Well, it depends on what kind of bugs we're attacking.
Those guys underneath the ground, the worms down there
underneath
messing
the
me
ground. Yeah, the biphen will soak its way into the ground a little bit, and rain will actually help drive that into the ground some. But you need 12 to 24 hours, because a lot of that biphen will also be on your grass blade or on your plant leaf, and so when the bug comes along and eats it, they're getting some of that biphen that way. So it's got kind of a dual purpose there in how it's going to work and how it's going to kill.
We got 30 seconds here. I want you to make your New Year's resolution or something here. What should people do? Most importantly, January, because you'll be back in February.
Be at Bell Seed Store once a month to find out what you need to be doing in your yard. There you go.
And
it can't get any easier than that.
Where are you? And
so many people want me to tell them what to do all year long. You're going to forget. This is not what you do every day. I mean, I'm not faulting you for that. So you come down once a month, and we will give you our best advice on what you need to be doing.
Look, I do this every day, and I already left the microphone off.
There you go. See, he can't remember it all.
Well, look, Jeff, we appreciate you.
Downtown,
Thank you so
230
much.
East Russell Street, directly across the street from the courthouse in beautiful downtown Fayetteville. Bell Seed Store for 107 years and still going strong. Fourth generation, family-owned business.
I thought, let's get ready to rumble. That's
There you go.
next. Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to garden.
640 WFNC. We've got Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high temperature of 61 degrees. Overnight will be partly cloudy with a low of 42. Tuesday will start out foggy in the morning. We will then turn partly cloudy the rest of the day with a high up to 68 degrees. This week is going to be warmer than normal, with high temperatures even climbing out of the 60s into the 70s by the middle of the week. We should stay mainly dry until Saturday, when a few showers arrive. That is your Fayetteville forecast. I'm CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Rachel, thank you. Right now, 37 degrees in Fayetteville, Grays Creek, and also in Olivia. You're listening to News Talk 640 with WFNC.
Cumberland County's hometown news